I'm trying to give you an insight into what I see as the machine, which is EV propaganda. And is not good for the motor trade or you private customers. It's harming residuals and it's misleading people, in my opinion. How far does it stretch? Well, that depends on how far you want to actually look to see how far it stretches. If you're not interested, you don't look, you take the misinformation at face value and you go and make possibly one of the biggest mistakes of your life. And you know, when you put it into context, if you've got children, what is it? Probably, if you make this mistake, you're going to lose the equivalent of sending your child to university for a year. Do you want to do that? You're going to lose the equivalent of, one of my friends has just had an operation on his nose, and that cost him £6,000. Had to go private because there's such a long waiting list. And he was in agony. So it's the difference, buying an EV, to my way of thinking, is the difference between being in agony for 3 years,
or even 4 years if the finance agreement is longer,
or just going and getting an operation. That's how I see money. It enables you to do what you want to, when you want to. So you have to be very careful with it. And that's a joke coming from me because I'm not careful. I never have been, honestly. I forget who said it, but someone said, I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better. So, you know, you kind of have to look after your money. Victoria Edmonds, if you look here, she's the CEO of EVA England. When you click on her, you'll see that she's viewed my profile in the last 90 days. Well, she will have done because I've mentioned EVA England, and I've also been involved in a few exchanges this last couple of weeks. I'll do that in another video. This one, I just want to, and I'll say it again. I know a lot of people at AutoTrader. I think they've distanced me now, but all nice people. They've all got a job to do. And I also saw a post.
I send pointless emails late at night to impress co-workers.
Although probably there's no pressure, and you can't put pressure on people these days. Not be seen to put pressure, but there just seems something not right to me in some AutoTrader posts on private accounts, but with kind of a company agenda. I could be wrong, but I can't see any other reason for it. Now, I'll start off here with Victoria Edmonds, and I'll get into this about the EVA in another video. EVs are the answer, not the problem, to a wealth of issues: clean air, lower costs of living, and a more sustainable and resilient energy system. Well, I don't think they are the answer. So I cancel you out. And everyone who understands and uses these cars knows that. Well, I use an EV and I don't know it, but many people don't, and they take their cues from what they read and hear about from those in power. Well, Vicky, you're in power too, and you're writing stuff. So they're supposed to listen to you, but nobody else. And again, I'll repeat this. Don't believe what I say, but don't believe what they say either. Check yourself, do your own research. Don't go blindly into buying an EV when it may not suit you. It may suit your needs, but it might not. And if it doesn't, it will cost you a lot of money. Government finally put their weight fully behind the hashtag EV transition in April when they confirmed the 2030 phase, I think that should be phase out date, for petrol and diesel cars and followed it with a substantial pot of money to encourage consumers to choose electric. No, it's to bribe them. It's not to encourage them. If they wanted to encourage them, they'd put out perhaps adverts or something extolling the features and benefits of an EV and why it would suit you. They wouldn't knock even more money off a car that's being discounted like there's no tomorrow. And there, to be honest, for the motor trade, there is no tomorrow. The EVs are ending the tomorrow of the motor trade. And the government aren't helping, because when they give a grant, when they give taxpayers' money as a grant to somebody to buy a new car, there's something wrong, isn't there? As I've just said about my friend, would he want £3,750 for an EV? Or would he want £3,750 towards a life-changing operation? Why can the government give money to people to buy a new car? How is that right? In anybody's world, how is that right? Because all it does is just make them depreciate by the same amount. You knock £3,750 off a new car, that £3,750 is going to come off a year, well, say £3,500 comes off a year-old one. And then 3.25 off a 2-year-old, and 3,000 off a 3-year-old, all the way down the line. Imagine that one grant of £3,750. Imagine how much that wipes out from trade values of all the other cars. For 3,000, it's a snowball. As it rolls downhill, one person buys a new car, but say there's 5 people with older cars. Those 5, their money is worth less. And then 10 people with a year older than that, that's worth less. Then 20 people. And the amount that EV grant is costing the motor trade is just unbelievable. And don't say it isn't. Do me a favour, go and download AT Price Tracker, then look at all the people who tell you how good EVs are on here. All of them. Look at how much they're having to reduce their stock by. Now, this month, December. Just do it. Don't believe me? Do it yourself. I'm the voice of reason, trust me. Then they announced a new road pricing scheme for EV drivers. And now today and over the weekend, we have stories about the Conservative Party vowing to delay again that 2030 date. Well, don't worry about that, because the Conservatives have got no chance of getting back in power. They can say what they want, on top of or because of the wobbles currently going on in the EU over the phase-out date for petrol and diesel cars across Europe. They've put it back, and they've toned it down to 90%, but that doesn't mean anything. They won't do 90%. It's a waste of time. These wobbles, these continued mixed signals from governments and opposition parties only serve to frustrate the EV industry and the wider driving public, who were thinking of going electric. And now, were they thinking of going electric? Or were they being bribed to go electric? Yet again, are wondering whether that's the right thing to do. That doesn't help anyone. Consumers, industry, who have already invested substantially in #EVs, or governments and their opposition parties. Well, the government is the opposition party because it will be reform. Reform are polling way, way higher than Labour governments. I'll let you into a little secret. Don't be thinking that Labour won't U-turn on this if they'll get a couple of votes. They will turn quicker. What turns quick? They'll turn quicker than the Stig doing a handbrake turn. I'm pretty proud of that one. Now then, on LinkedIn, this chap's post came up on my timeline. I don't follow him. I don't think I particularly knew who he was. I'll have seen the name, no doubt, at AutoTrader before, I think, but I can't remember his name and I can't remember his face. Having said that, yesterday I was looking for my phone. I was looking all over while I was talking to somebody. And of course it was in my hand. So perhaps all these lovely EV people that say I'm going senile and I've got Alzheimer's and I'm old, perhaps they're right. I mean, sooner or later they will be, won't they? But it's the only thing they're right about. They're not right about EVs. In here, there's a 4-shot latte made with coconut milk. It's like drinking a Bounty.
But Bounty, the taste of paradise.
Try it, I love it. So this is the tweet I saw. Greg Newton, where market insight meets human behaviour, customer success director, AutoTrader, coach, facilitator at Unstuck. AutoTrader, Manchester area, contact info. Greg viewed your profile in the past 90 days. Visionary leader in the UK automotive marketplace, recognised as a go-to authority on technology, data-driven insight, strategy and sales performance. With 17 plus years at AutoTrader, I have built a reputation for simplifying complexity, challenging assumptions and delivering measurable results across every level of the industry. I specialise in turning vast market data sets and shifting consumer behaviours. So he specialises in shifting consumer behaviours into actionable strategies that help retailers and OEMs thrive. From independents to major PLCs, I partner with leaders to drive growth, sharpen commercial performance and future-proof business models against evolving challenges like electrification, digital transformation and changing customer expectations. Key strengths include data and insight leadership, translating complex data sets into clear, actionable strategies that directly impact business performance, commercial and sales enablement, designing tools, playbooks and performance frameworks that equip sales teams to operate with clarity, confidence and impact. Strategic influence, forging partnerships with retailers, manufacturers and internal cross-functional teams to shape go-to market strategies and customer-focused solutions. Storytelling and communication, accomplished keynote speaker and presenter, known for making data tangible, trends real, and the future actionable. Widely respected across the industry for foresight and clarity, I bring a futurist lens with a pragmatist discipline, spotting what's next, connecting the dots others miss, and ensuring insight leads to progress. What if you connect the dots that others ignored because they knew the dots were taking you in the wrong direction? Don't get me wrong, probably a lovely bloke. As I say, I can't think of anybody that I dislike as a person at AutoTrader. I just can't think of anybody. Everybody I've met, they've all been lovely. So it pains me a little bit to do this. Take a note of these things. AutoTrader in his profile picture. AutoTrader there. Management endorsed by Mark Thornborough. I know Mark, lovely bloke. Goes to the same place that I go to on holidays. I actually bumped into him at the airport in Naples many years ago. Customer success, consumer behaviour, sales endorsed. Again, endorsed by 19 colleagues at AutoTrader. So this is the post that started it 2 days ago. Where market insight meets human behaviour. Customer success director, AutoTrader. Visible to anyone on or off LinkedIn. So I'm not sharing anything I shouldn't. A month into hashtag EV ownership. I've got no idea what my kilowatt hour per mile is. No spreadsheet on what I've saved. Again, I'm sorry, but and future-proof business models against evolving challenges like electrification. Okay, I've got no idea what my kilowatt hour per mile is. No spreadsheet on what I've saved, no calculator, no charts, no evangelizing. What I do know, I prefer driving it to any petrol car I've owned. It's lightning quick. The tech is genuinely brilliant. What tech's different than an ICE car? And it makes every journey feel better. How? I'm sorry, but it doesn't make every journey feel better at all. They're boring. They do not make a journey feel better. They're perfectly adequate. As I said in my review on the Leapmotor C10, you can enjoy the comfort, but you can't enjoy the drive. It's no better than any petrol car. You could argue that you don't feel gear changes, but you know what? In an automatic, if you're a good driver, you can promote a gear change. You know exactly when it's going to be. You take your foot off the accelerator ever so slightly, and the car just seamlessly changes gear. If you're a good driver, if you're a bad driver, and you've got your foot on the accelerator, and it goes, then yeah, I get it. But what it should say there is, and it makes every bad driver's journey feel better. That's what it should say. Turns out I didn't buy a car to run a maths exam. Perhaps you didn't. But was there another reason you did? I bought it because I enjoy driving it. Right, so he enjoys driving it. There is a possibility that the company's lent him one for a good few weeks, a few months. Or there's a pool car at AutoTrader, and he's used it several times and he enjoyed it. But nobody really buys a car. 50 years in the motor trade, nobody buys a car because they enjoy driving it unless they're swapping from the same model to the next one, a newer one. And you already know, you certainly don't swap from a petrol or a diesel to an electric because you enjoy driving it, because you don't know. You don't know you're going to enjoy driving it. In fact, I'll even go as far as to say that this is rubbish, because if you go to the EV people are so fond of hashtags, aren't they? So if you go to my Twitter account is at Barry Crampton, and it's the @ BarrieCrampton. So go to @ Barry Crampton and then just put in, there you go, those are hashtags. So you can go to my Twitter account and just click on that hashtag. Here we go. These people bought an EV 30th of September 2025 on a 37-month hire purchase agreement. 1,400 miles, brand new vehicle. They're getting rid. Do you think he enjoyed driving that car? Do you think any of these people who swapped within a couple of days or a couple of months on, look at that, let's 7 months and 5 days, 10 months and 2 days, 2 months and 30 days, 9 months and 40 days. And these are all like 3 owners within 12 months, 8 months, 3 months, 9 months. And then again, according to AutoTrader, 3 to 5 year old EVs are selling faster than any other, like ICE powered vehicle. But you see there, 2 months and 10 days, 3 year old, 8 months and 18 days, 8 months, 1 month, 7 months, 7 months, 3 years, 6 months. So I'm sorry, but you may enjoy driving it, but there's lots of people who don't, But then you see the mic drop at the end, done. Done. To me, that says, I'm right, whatever you think, I'm right, done. So I replied back to him, Greg, is that the actual reason you bought it, or did you discover that afterwards? What other cars did you consider? Did you buy it or get it through AutoTrader? Can you put your hand on your heart and honestly say it was not a financial decision to save money on tax, first and foremost? And finally, what was your motivation to make this post on LinkedIn? Especially when 96% of your customers on AutoTrader sell ICE cars. I also notice you've been looking at my profile on LinkedIn. Why would that be? As I don't post stories, I just reply to posts that I think are unfairly designed to influence people by making false claims, such as, you can save £1,500 by buying an EV, when you only have to look at the amount that EVs for sale by dealers on your platform have tanked by. I hope for your sake you have leased it. Keep enjoying your drive. Greg's come back to me. Didn't answer my questions, really. Barry, honestly, you're reading way more into this than exists. Running costs weren't the reason. Tax wasn't the reason. AutoTrader wasn't the reason. I bought a car because I like driving it. That's it. Yes, I clicked your profile. That's normal LinkedIn behaviour. This wasn't a sales pitch, a data point, or an attempt to influence anyone. It was literally a post about enjoying a car. ICE, EV, hybrid. People buy what works for them. No crusade here. Anyway, hope business is going well and you're enjoying whatever you're driving. My reply, I'm retired and I have an EV, thank you. Now I refer you to, this wasn't a sales pitch, a data point, or an attempt to influence anyone. It was literally a post about enjoying a car. Greg, what about this one? Conduct yourself properly. Am I reading too much into that? And to be fair, I've looked through your timeline. I have to say I remain sceptical about your agenda. So when we look at this post, 2 months ago, finally gone electric, figured it was time to conduct myself properly. Sorry, it's Friday. So are you saying that people who don't buy electric aren't conducting themselves properly? Because that's the message I get from there. Agenda for crying laughing emojis and future-proof business models against evolving challenges like electrification. I don't think that's a suitable emoji coming after agenda. Back to Greg Newton. And yet your timeline gives me cause to wonder. We need to stop obsessing. 6 months ago, we need to stop obsessing about new EVs. They are super important though, because for most people their first electric experience won't be brand new. It won't involve a glossy press launch, a government grant, or a car handed over with 4 miles on the clock. It'll be a used car, 3 years old, bit of wear on the steering wheel. And that's where the real shift is happening. Used EVs are the gateway for most drivers, and how people feel about them in that first test drive will shape everything that follows. So yeah, your timeline gives me cause to wonder. Am I not allowed to be a fan of EVs? So you got one 2 months ago, but that post was from 6 months ago. Greg Newton, where market insights meet human behaviour. Apart from the record-breaking 600,000 plus hashtag electric vehicles registered across Western Europe last quarter, apart from the thousands of people searching, comparing and buying new and used EVs on platforms like AutoTrader every single day, apart from the growing queue of customers just trying to get a straight answer from someone who knows what they're talking about, truth is, people aren't falling out of love with EVs. We just need to tweak how we help them buy one. And that's on us, the industry. The challenge isn't the car, it's the journey to get one. So maybe it's time to stop obsessing over uptake and start obsessing over Hashtag experience. Do you think EVs are sold differently than ICE cars? I could get on board with the Renault 5. Best cars eligible for the new electric car grant. AutoTrader. 6 months. We need to stop obsessing about new EVs. They are super important, though. We've heard all this before. Well, glossy press on used EVs are the gateway. Confidence in the tech, trust in the range, belief that this future actually fits their life. So the big question isn't just how many new EVs are being sold. Yes, it's important too. It's how ready is the used market to give people a great first impression. That's where the real challenge and the real opportunity sits. Then who knows, they might buy another one, and so might their family and friends and the neighbours. 8 months ago, EVs haven't failed, expectations have. I was talking to my dad the other day. He's nearly 80, still drives, still sharp, does about 5,000 miles a year. I told him, you're the perfect person for an EV. And he looked scared. I asked why. He said, well, what happens when I do a long journey? Like when we visit our friends in Norfolk. So I asked, how often do you do that? Twice, he said. Twice a year. That one word says everything. This isn't an EV problem. Well, it is, actually, because he does that journey twice a year in his ICE vehicle without thinking. So it is an EV problem. This is an expectation problem. Yeah, he expects it to get to Norfolk without having to sit on a car park for 3 hours while it charges up. I'd say your dad is a pretty switched on guy for 80. Good on him. We've bombarded people with range stats, public charger horror stories and fear-inducing headlines. So now even the perfect EV driver thinks they need to plan for the 2 journeys a year they might do. Yes, they do. Rather than the 200 that are easy, cheap and ideal. EVs haven't failed. Well, yes, they have. They just haven't been explained in a way that makes people feel safe, confident and in control. So, again, it's just condescending. They are all condescending. If you don't think, even his dad doesn't think the EV will suit his needs, but it does because he said so. Dad, it suits your needs. But don't be ringing me from a car park saying you're stuck there. I don't want to know. But I will say one thing for Greg. He's obviously not after his mum and dad's money, their inheritance when they, finally pop off. Because if he was, he'd be telling them not to buy an EV. Because his dad won't be leasing one at 80. His dad will be using his cold hard cash to buy one. So he will just lose it. It will just off a cliff. So good on Greg. He's not a money grabber. He looks like a nice bloke. As I've said before, he looks like a nice bloke. Looks like a lovely family man. He's got a job to do for a company that's going through a very, very difficult transition at the moment. Let's stop talking to consumers like they're car experts. Now, your lot talk to consumers like they're morons. Let's stop designing adoption around edge cases. Let's stop selling fear, because sometimes the only thing standing between a perfect fit and total panic is Norfolk. Hashtag EV, hashtag electric vehicles, hashtag consumer trust, hashtag AutoTrader, hashtag EV transition, hashtag automotive, hashtag behavioural science, hashtag car buying, hashtag insight driven. Now, I'm sure that's not his dad. Greg Newton reposted this. As digital disruption transforms the automotive landscape, our latest partnership with Octopus EV highlights the growing importance of digital remarketing, especially with the rapid rise of EV and EV fleets at dealer auction. We've long delivered control and profit for fleets, and today's collaboration is another step.
Ian Plummer, Chief Customer Officer at AutoTrader UK. There's going to be a fascinating chance to gather the thoughts of key industry and hashtag government leaders on the UK's road towards hashtag electrification at the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders SMMT's Electrified conference on Thursday. Sign up if you haven't already done so. As part of the lineup of speakers, I'm delighted to be joining an incredibly knowledgeable panel representing some of our biggest and best OEMs and car brands, and hosted by Chris Pritchett, Shoesmiths, Lisa Brankin, Ford UK, David George, BMW UK, Paul Philpott, Kia UK Limited, Gareth Dunsmore, Nissan Motor Corporation. We'll look at where we've got so far after the first year of the ZEV mandate, and we'll likely touch on matters ranging from the recent consultation on that programme, impacts from the very recent softening of EU CO2 targets and timescales, and crucially, what other levers need to be pulled to stimulate the demand side and get #car buyers to confidently make the switch to electric. Why? Why are you getting involved in making the switch to electric when 96% of your customers sell ICE cars? Why are you doing that? What's in it for you? #SMMT electrified, #sustainable mobility, #EVs, #cars, #electric cars, #new cars, #used cars. Richard Sargood, Anna Farnell, Mike Hawes, David Wong and Constanze Jaring. I'm speaking at #SMMT electrified. Ian Plummer, Commercial Director, AutoTrader.
So again, all I see in Greg's timeline is about EVs. Am I not allowed to be a fan of EVs? Before you got one raises questions. And honestly, I think AutoTrader and their employees should remain neutral. In all honesty, I think the way AutoTrader are relentlessly pushing EV hype is disgraceful. But that's me. And as far as being able to save £1,500 a year in their EV myths, that is a joke. Now this is where the exchange takes a turn. You've seen all the questions I've asked and what I've put across. This is an AT thing. Makes sense now. Why does it make sense? Why all of a sudden does it make sense? FYI, this isn't an AT profile. This is mine. Going to wrap this up, Barry. Good luck in your mission. My mission? I've asked him some questions. I replied back, it's a mission to correct propaganda, but thank you, I get it. Thumbs up. Again, it's not a thumbs up, it's a passive aggressive. He thinks it's an AT thing with me. It's not. Trust me, it's an EV propaganda thing. An AT, AutoTrader, in my opinion, are stretching out across the social media platforms with misinformation. It's an AT thing. The comments. One here, Ian Plummer, Chief Customer Officer at AutoTrader UK. Brilliantly put, Greg. Pat on the back for Greg. Posting a social media post. He's got a pat on the back from Ian Plummer. Now I'd say that for an employee is a pretty big haiku. But it's not an AutoTrader thing. AutoTrader, AutoTrader, AutoTrader. Connections. AutoTrader, 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 AutoTrader. But when you look at all those people that he follows and follow him, I'd say to say the least, it's biased. And I will repeat, I've got nothing against this chap. Looks like a lovely person. Looks like a family man. He's been at AutoTrader for many years. He's obviously reliable, does his job properly. But to say, or to turn it into, it's an AutoTrader thing, yes it is, because I don't believe they should be allowed to do this. I think their employees should be impartial, and to me that looks about as one-sided as it's possible to be. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.